Okay. One of the fears of the anti-federalists of the national government become overly powerful, denying rights to the people in the states. In response to this argument, Madison stated, okay? Madison stated. So, this is a really wordy question, and as always, when y'all get to wordy questions, you freak out, right? Because I don't even know if you're not used to them or reading or stuff like that. So when you get to wordy questions, you have a tendency to freak out. So if you're reading through, it's only the national government was responsible to the people, the rights of the states did not matter. Well, that doesn't make sense. So it can't be that. And then you got this word only, all, never. That should freak you out a little bit, right off the bat. So maybe, only the national government was responsible to the states. The rights of the people were therefore responsible of the states alone. I don't even know what that means. All right, no, right? That's not true. Because if this was true, you got no back and forth. You got no Federalist 28. He strongly supported the addition of the Bill of Rights to further protect the rights of the individual. We talked about that. He didn't want the Bill of Rights, right? He didn't want the Bill of Rights because he didn't want anybody to screw up his Constitution. So he didn't strongly support it. The national government was first divided between two distinct governments and then subdivided between the three different branches. This was your warm-up question about Madison. So we did that warm-up question. On the entry card, it was the Federalist one. This is that. That is that, right? So first of all, it's divided between two governments, and then subdivided between different branches. Okay, so that's how he said not to worry about it. That question is really, and you guys did a really good job in the Federalist 10, you did a really good job in the Federalist 51. I was looking at last year's supportive work. I had something about factions on there. I had something about majority tyranny on there. I had something about Federalist 10 being about factions on there. Last semester's review sheet was 4 pages at 10 font with a bunch of different things. Yours is barely 3 pages and it's at like 11 or 12 font. Like you guys did a much better job of getting ready for the same question. So I get this one. This is factions and ambitions, right? 2 different factions, 2 different ambitions, divided and subdivided. You guys get this question? This is directly from that pink warm-up about federalism. All right, next one. As shown by the appointment of Justice Souter by the President George H.W. Bush, this was not a 30% question. This was a 20% question. This is not one of the killers. The most important check a member of the Supreme Court has on the presidents is, and then when you saw this, I was hoping you'd think of him with the story, right? Justice Souter, what's your biggest regret? Souter. And so, remember what I said I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to use the word term for him. I was going to use the word tenure, right? And the reason I said I was going to use the word tenure is it's the answer, right? It's the answer. So, declaring state laws unconstitutional, that has nothing to do with him. Having the ability to oversee debates of all bills on the House floor. We never even talked about House floor, so no. Having the sole ability to decide a case. Sole was way too strong. That's all or never. Can't be that. If I had final ability, maybe, but that still doesn't have anything to do with him. Remember, you're looking for that one. Make sense? Okay, I got like 2 yeses. Do you guys get this one? Okay, okay. Those interpret the 10th Amendment, Clarence Thomas as greatly restricting the powers of the national government and deference to the states are often referred to as. So, I said I really liked this slide, and I thought it would be a little bit of a hint. And then I definitely need to put this on here because we only did something on one day, and I want to make sure that you guys had it. I'm sorry, Ashton? Really? The other reason I wanted to have this on here, one, I wanted to know the difference between strict and loose, and come on, I got a tattoo story, so like that's got to immediately help you between strict and loose constructionists, right? And then I wanted to put this on here, and this is going to come back, and I knew it was going to happen. I wanted to put this on here because of this, and I'm going to show you why in a second. I'm not surprised, but I gave you an answer. There's always answers hidden there. We have to do it, right? It just happens. So I'll show you why. So deference, all right. And then we got, these guys are strict constructionists, right? Federalists want a strong national government. That would make them loose constructionists. Loose constructionists and Federalists, same thing. I don't know what the hell that is. I just made that up because I had a different word on there before and it made it really kind of difficult. So what I used to have last semester, I changed it because people had a really difficult time with this question. I had Federalist, loose constructionists, anti-Federalist, strict constructionists. And I was looking for constructionists and a lot of people had trouble with it. And they were right, it was a bad question, or a bad answer. So this semester I changed to Madisonites. I don't know what that is, I just kind of made it up, hoping that you would see, if you weren't sure, he never talked about that. These guys and these guys are the same people. This has got to be the answer. And I wanted to leave it for this as well, and I'll show you why that is in a second. Do you guys get the loose construction part? Remember, I'm a loose constructionist. My mom's a strict constructionist. I didn't say you could do that. You didn't say I couldn't. Right? Loose and strict. All right, next up. A third of the way there. I told you you're going to see it again. 28. I love this paper. We don't even read it, but I pounded it in your head. And if you guys remember, we reviewed on the last day before the test, slide the fourth thing that the Judiciary 79 did, there's a bridge between the national government and the state government. I said I need you to write this down because it's really, really cool. If the state government denies your rights, you have to go to the national government. I said, what Federalist paper? Y'all said 28. It was part of the review for this, right? That's why we did that slide. That's why I made you write it down, the bridge. This is the bridge question. It's got to be 28, right? By the way, the next chapter we do is federalism. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw this very exact same question again. Because everybody in the world knows 10, everybody knows 51, a lot of people do 78. Not a lot of people do this because it's so cool. I think it's cool because federalism is neat, but I'm a little different. I know the B's, C's, and D's. I blew it up so you can see it. Work with me on this one. For every single test, the question before this was, what were the Federalist Papers? And the Federalist Papers were these papers written in order to get the Constitution ratified, right? So, if this was question 8, question 7 was, which of the following is a description of the Federalist Papers? And the Federalist Papers is a group of essays written to get the Constitution ratified, right? That means the Constitution had already been written, right? You can't get something ratified until it's written. Tried something new this semester. These two questions, this one and the one I just told you, used to be a long way away from each other. What I tried this time to see what happened is if I give you a question about what the Federalist Papers were, which almost everybody got right, and then over a third of you got this wrong, how can something be a source for something if they're written after it's written? How can the Federalist Papers be a source for the Constitution if the Federalist Papers were written after the Constitution? That's why I put those two questions together. John Locke, before the Constitution. Montesquieu, before the Constitution. Plato, before the Constitution. After the Constitution. They went together and everybody's test had them right next to each other with the ratification one first. All right? Philosopher, 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 Federalist Papers. I didn't think it was a trick. I stuck it in the essential part, not in the content part, but I thought it was kind of an easy one. You guys get why the Federalist Papers can't be a source? Yeah? You sure? Okay, cool. The only thing I think that people might have had trouble with on this one is you skimmed this word. People looked at this and in their mind they saw executive checks legislative, VOTE versus VETO. I try to put it in bold and italicize and underline it to make sure you would look at it, right, Logan? Thanks. And I don't know. I wish I could get stats on who put what. This Scantron won't do that for me. State of the Union. All right, State of the Union to bully Congress. So, no. This would have been super hard. Wait a minute, do they have line item veto? Do they not have line item veto? You guys have never read Clinton versus New York, which is about the line item veto being unconstitutional, yada, yada, yada. What's wrong with C? If you didn't know anything other than the one hint I gave you in here, what's wrong with letter C that makes it wrong for social studies? What? Told you guys all or never? Wrong. It's one of those code words. It can't be. And line item vetoes only appropriations bills, but you don't know that. Who cares? I'm not going to do that with you guys. All. So when you see that all or never, it's wrong. Unless I tell you that's the answer, and it's not going to be the answer because I never use it that way. We okay in this one? Bully pulpit. Right, State of the Union, you guys did a great job on bully pulpit. All right.